Hi everyone, welcome back to a pretty chilly day. You can see I'm fairly well wrapped up and I'm beginning to wonder if this winter project is going to turn into a bit of an icebox project because I don't have any heat, well not as yet, here in the garage. There's a massive gap, beneath the garage door, and the wind's blowing in through that. It's barely 9 or 10 degrees Celsius outside, but it is what it is and I need to crack on with it. I've been doing quite a bit of work. I am expecting some company today, some help. My brother's coming over to lend a hand, so hopefully we may be able to work out a safe way of getting the car on axle stands front and back. I've heard lots of different stuff about axle stands and whether you should use them front and back at the same time. I've spoken to people who've said yes, it's not a problem, and then you hear the complete opposite, so I'm a little bit unsure about it. I want to be as safe as possible. I can't afford accidents, least of all because I don't like pain, but let's worry about that another time. I have been doing a little bit of work, and you can probably see that the wiring loom is now starting to become detached from Bryan. So I've taken the front section off and brakes came off in my hand. Let's pop that to one side. So the lights are now disconnected. Now, I found a really strange looking, like a junction point for the braking system. I kind of worked that bit out. And on the top there was a electrical connector. Turns out that this little chap is the brake light mechanism. So I guess when you put your foot on the brake, it activates something inside which causes a connection, and then the brake lights come on. Who'd have thought? I mean, it's a simple enough thing, but having never investigated this kind of stuff before, I just find it really interesting, really fascinating. So both sides have had the electrics removed. I've taken lots of photographs as I've gone along, and I've got the cabling and the colour coding sorted. I'm starting to investigate a new wiring loom. I want a new wiring loom, but I've run into a question about alternators, dyno lights, the indicators specifically, because Bryan used to have the little trafficator swing arms at the side, but now has these indicators at the front. And I'm quite keen, I think, to put the trafficators back but also retain the indicators. I quite like the idea of having the little flappy wings at the side that indicate which way you're turning, but for safety I want to retain the indicators as most people would understand them, because I don't think modern drivers will know what on earth's going on if a little arm flips out at the side of the car. But that on the car has been removed, so I'd have to reinstigate those. So that's part of what I'm thinking. Today, I'm hoping that when my brother turns up, we can get the car up on axle stands, get underneath, and either remove the fuel system. I think he's coming over for a couple of hours. Remove the fuel system, so tank all the tubes, pipes, and the carburettor, and get that off and safe, make the car safe in terms of the fuel that's in it. And then if we have time, or if we can't do that because of the space issues, we might just take the lights off the front and remove the front wings and see what that reveals, because I'm quite keen to have a look behind there as well at some point. And I'm hoping he's also bringing a brake bleeding kit, which will allow me maybe during the week or next weekend to bleed the brake system and remove all the pipes for the braking system. So let's grab a coffee, wait for my brother to arrive, and then we can crack on. There we go. We're a bit on the wonk, balancing the tripod there. So, not untypically, I guess, we had one bolt that was 3/16 Whitworth, and the others are all 1/4 inch Whitworth. There were only 4 bolts in it, and there looks as if there's holes for maybe 6 or more, but it should now, hopefully, lift off. Maybe there might be another. Oh, we've got another bolt come out somewhere in here. My mechanic assistant is going to have a look at that.
Yeah,
3/16?
No, probably the
1/4 inch again. But I guess when people do repairs and change things, try and keep the costs down, you end up with whatever people can use. So it's all good fun, isn't it? So this one's 3/16 as well, so we can get that sorted.
Not moving from this side.
It's not.
So this, oh, that's good. You're on the wrong one.
What one?
Yeah.
So Laurel and Hardy here. I'm holding one end of a nut on here, and the mechanic is on the inside attacking a completely different
That's
nut.
the one right at the top up here. Is it moving? If I move a little bit.
Oh yeah, there we are. Oh no, I need the other. So it's not 3/16, it's a 1/4 inch. Can you turn it a little bit? So, yeah, there it is.
Edit that.
So yeah, that's it. No, we're not going to edit it. This is all part of the fun. Here we go.
Are you there?
Try again. Success. It's moving this time.
I thought that was taking a long way to come off. I thought it must be a long bolt.
Success. We're trying to save all the nuts and bolts as well.
I think that should.
And this might be. Oh! How cool is that?
These wings are in good shape though.
He says the wings are in good shape, so that's good. We've got the inner wing, and now I can actually have a closer look at all of the brake system. But for today, I really want to get these doors off, so we're going to do that now. Get the door open, and hopefully it'll open wide enough so that we can get a spanner onto it. So now that we've got the door able to open to its maximum, we discover that there's this little pin here holding this bracket to this rod. Actually, if I undo these 2 screws, that will probably come away and I can leave this rod here. So rather than dismantle it further here, I'm going to try and unscrew these 2 screws. So we run into yet another problem in that I don't have a screwdriver big enough for these 2 screws. So this pin looks as if it just has been split and will fold down, and then I can pull it out. So we'll just try and pull that down, and then we will have to remove it. I don't suppose this has ever been removed. Oh. think I'll probably have to get a screwdriver or something and just push under that back section to try and lever it down a bit. Yeah, thanks. There's one little bit. So I've actually split it 4 ways. I'm not sure that these screwdrivers are meant to be used like this, but if I just turn that a little bit, then maybe we can squish it down and then push it out. So I'm going to get another pair of pliers, and we should then be able to grab it from the top. I'll get my brother to do that.
Short-handed ones or?
Anything will do, yeah. Can you grab that from the top? Might be able to get a screwdriver under it and just lever it up a little bit. There it goes. Can you twist it towards the fence? That's it. And then I'll squish it down a bit and it might... Let's see if we can go up. No, I'm going to get a hammer now and try and just try and tap it from below. I guess if in doubt, hit it with a hammer. Well, maybe not. That doesn't want to move really. It just seems to be flattening everything out again. Yeah, maybe the easiest way to remove this is to drill it out. So having tried the hammer, having tried a screwdriver and pliers, we're going to try this little grindy wheel thing. Got most of it, I think. Let's see if we can turn it around. Oh, there we go. So that should now pop out. Looks like the head is actually snapping off. Oh well. So I guess I need to just punch that out now, and then hopefully it'll free it up so that we can get to the bolts. So of course I don't have any punches to knock that out, so I've had to resort to an old screwdriver and hope that that will do it. There we go. Excellent. So, okay, and that was the culprit. This little aluminium, almost pop rivet type thing. So this is the arm that holds the door and stops it from swinging out too far. And now we've got that off, that's going to disappear into the door, so we'll leave that there. We can open the door as far as we can and hopefully get to these bolts. So we've got 4 bolts at the top. It looks as if there ought to have been 3 in the bottom, but there's only 2, and that's probably why the door was bouncing up and down and not opening properly, and we've had all these gaps. So I'm going to take one of these out, and then 3 at the top up here, and then my glamorous assistant's going to hold it for me, and we'll see if we can lift the door off. That's one out of the bottom. Now we'll try and take 3 out of the top. Bottom one first or top one first?
I'd do the bottom
one first. So 2 left. We'll take the bottom one out first. Okay, so now several washers have fallen out, so we'll gather those up. So it's just the one at the top now. Okay, that is the door. Gone. Well, we've taken both doors off. I'm sorry we didn't record that last bit, this near side door, but it actually came off a lot easier than the driver's side. So the actual door limiter rod, or what, don't know what it's called, but the door limiter stops the door from opening too far, had 2 Phillips screws, bolts, 2 Phillips headed bolt type things in, and they came out really easily. And then both the top and bottom bolts again came out okay, because we repositioned the car. I mean, we are really stuck for space. I don't have that much room, but this is the back gate, and we managed to position it so that the door would open through the gate, and that allowed us to get in and just take the bolts out. So happy days. And then we've got those over here, and that's all my space gone. The grille is there, the 2 doors are there, and I'm going to have to find somewhere to put them. So we're going to remove, as a little bit of an extra job, the near side front wing, and that will be it for today. So hopefully the bolts inside will come off as easily as the ones on the driver's side. So we're going to crack on with that, and I'll catch up with you again shortly. So we've got a nut and a bolt here, which I have loosened. And then up here it looks like, we were just talking about this, it looks like there's a piece of welded metal with a square-headed nut in it that they've used instead of just a standard nut and bolt, and maybe they've done that all the way across. So we should hopefully be able to get to this and undo this with just the spanner outside.
Can you sit?
So back in the driver's seat, it's a bit wobbly because it's not bolted down, but I've nowhere else to put them, so we're having to just fit them back in. I've had to put the gearbox cover back in place. It's a little bit rusty, but it'll be okay. And the reason I've put these seats back where they are is because I don't want the rear seat to get too damaged. So hopefully you can see the rear seats there, and they've got a little bit of marking on them. I'm not sure whether we'll push the boat out and go for leather seat covers, and that would be great, but it does look as if they've got the original foam and Hessian inside the seats from the 1950s, from 1958. So that's quite remarkable. The good news is that we've managed to remove both doors and both front wings. Hidden behind the bicycle, which has more dust on it than I'd care to admit to, is the passenger door, and here's the driver's door. They actually weigh quite a lot. There's quite a bit of weight to them. There's the front grille that we took out previously, and then what suddenly becomes quite a bare looking front end of the car. If I just move around to the front, there's the passenger side, sans passenger door and front wing. My attempt at being slightly intellectual. Anyway, looking at the inner wing, doesn't look too bad. There's a repair welding down the bottom here. But other than that, I think, well, I'm no expert, of course, so we'll have to wait for judgment, really, get all the paint off, and then maybe we'll get told what is and isn't wrong with it. But I think this is part of the damper system, and that looks a bit rusty, and there's some more in there that looks rusty as well. So here are the front wings, near side and off side, all getting a bit tight. I might try to get some hangy bracket type things to put on the roof, not the roof, the ceiling, the joists. That doesn't look good though, it's that damp. Oh, previous damp. There was a previous damp spot there, so hopefully that's all just dry now. Yeah, anyway, sorry about that. Hopefully I can get some hangy brackets to fit, and then maybe I can get at least the wings up on the walls or close to the walls, and then maybe the doors as well. But they are really heavy, so I need to strip those down, get the glass out, take the panels off, etc, etc. So quite a bit of work to do there, I guess. But looking at the front inner wings, there is a little bit of work to be done. There's been a weld at the bottom. It looks like just here, this particular rubber stop might have thumped down. It looks as if it's a bit corroded, taken a thump, maybe not, maybe that's just my imagination. This is again all part of the suspension damper system. Can't really remember the names at the moment, but I'll get there. Things like trunnions and kingpins and the like, but we'll work it out. We'll find a way of learning all of these things, and wishbones and the like. But honestly, doesn't really matter. As I'm going along, I'm learning, I'm having fun. I really enjoyed having my brother over to help. That was great fun. We don't do that enough. It gives us both something to get involved in together, which is really nice. And I'm looking forward to him coming back again in the future and helping out. So here we are. That's pretty much everything that I'm going to do today. The next thing to do is to put all the tools away.